The man watched helplessly as his girlfriend cheated on him, but this truly was the only way to save the Earth. The sleeping Zappu was woken up by his assistant. He thought it was an enemy alert. The aide informed him the president needed him for urgent business. They traversed the White House, heading deeper into the underground tunnels. The president explained there was a rogue planet wandering the cosmos, indiscriminately destroying worlds. Ordinary weapons couldn't harm it at all. And this death sphere was heading straight for Earth. Earth certainly couldn't fight it either, like a loach in a jar. The president asked, "What's your suggestion?" The president could only activate his secret weapon. A scientist who'd been fired for being too crazy. Professor Bai. Professor Bai was delighted. He hadn't expected the country hadn't forgotten him. "Then let me show you something," he said. "I've developed an invisible fighter jet." Zarp thought Professor White was mad. He went to see if the fighter even existed. Professor White said they could use the battleship instead, sneak into enemy territory. But there was one critical problem. Who would pilot the battleship? The president suggested Zarp.
I say no.
Brave Leela stepped forward. She decided to pilot the ship. The president said, not bad, but Fry was worried about his girlfriend's safety. Leela insisted on going. Zarp, who'd forgotten everything but his crush, suddenly volunteered to join. He could sit behind Leela as a gunner. Before departure, Fry packed provisions for his girlfriend. Leela kissed Fry goodbye. In an awkward pose, they embarked on their mission to save Earth. They soon reached the surface of the dead ball, quickly found a hidden entrance, and successfully infiltrated its interior. The dead ball seemed to have been monitoring Earth all along. It continuously broadcast Earth's television channels. Leela was utterly shocked. Just then, the dead ball detected them and launched an attack. Leela fired missiles to intercept, but they seemed ineffective. They scrambled to flee. Before the gates closed, they managed to escape the interior. However, their ship went out of control, shooting off into uncharted territory. Lila awoke to find herself pinned beneath branches. Zap, however, couldn't budge the trunk. With the heat unbearable, they had no choice but to shed their protective suits, using leaves as makeshift cover. Zap decided to go alone to search for water and food. The sharp-witted Lila sensed something was amiss. The cowardly Zap, why such unusual behavior? Yet it was their only option. Lila collapsed onto the grass. Now he was nearly dying of thirst. Fortunately, Zap returned with some wild berries. Zap declared the ship was completely wrecked. Thankfully, this place had ample food and water. Meanwhile, Fry was deeply worried. Everyone felt the end was near. Why not use their last moments to throw a wild party?